In geopolitics, no, sir, nothing is coincidental. Okay, people may lead you to believe कि it happened ऐसे ही लोगों का struggle था, it was a people's uprising. Never. Especially in geopolitics, everything is planned and strategically it happens. The consequences. So इसे हम color revolution बोलते हैं. So this was a very planned strategic effect, and it is precisely because these coordinated protests didn't work. They had literally step in. If you want to go and stay in Dubai, the first thing that will strike into your mind is fear, and that is what Iran has done to every person who was staying in Dubai, or every rich family that was staying in Dubai. That there is huge amount of fear in their minds about Dubai right now, because the primary thing, what was most important in Dubai, which was security, वही छीन लिया है ईरान ने. So that image of Dubai or these Gulf places being super secure, being very comfortable, all of that is gone.
नमस्ते भक्तों। आज का हमारा जो सेक्शन है वो भक्स इंटेलेक्चुअल का है, क्योंकि आज हम एक इंटेलेक्चुअल से बात करने जा रहे हैं और एक करंट मुद्दे पे इस वक्त बात करने जा रहे हैं। So before introducing our guest, let me tell you some current scenario which we are talking about, which is, we all know, Iran, Israel and USA conflict. West Asia has entered one of its most volatile phases in decades. What began as internal unrest inside Iran in late 2025 escalated dramatically after the coordinated strikes on February 28, 2026 that targeted Iran's military infrastructure and leadership. The conflict has already shaken global markets, raised concerns about the security of the Gulf region, and created uncertainty for millions of migrants and investors, including nearly 10 million Indians living across West Asia. For Bharat, the stakes are significant: energy, security, maritime, trade routes, diplomatic balancing, and safety of its diaspora. To understand the deeper geopolitical implementation or implications of this crisis, we are joined today by a geopolitical expert, Sahil Raje. So let me first give you a small introduction. Who is Sahil Raje? Sahil has diversified interests ranging from geopolitics and history to Vedanta and entrepreneurship. He represented India at the BRICS Summit of Young Leaders and Entrepreneurs in Stavropol, Russia. Subiksha, a food and education program in the conversion-affected area of Dahisar, and Bharatam Re-Awakening, a youth-centric discussion forum, are social ventures initiated by him. After completing his PG from a business school in Mumbai, Sahil went on to become the founder of a tech startup and then the CEO of another renowned Mumbai-based startup. He extensively writes on geopolitics, history, and fifth generation warfare, and is fascinated by Vedanta and Bhakti. Currently, Sahil is building Momokshu. It's a life simulation board game based on Bharatiya civilization, history, and way of life. A game that's rooted in four Purusharthas. In the game, you compete to live and an ideal life while learning about concepts like Grihast, Dharma, Run, Maya, Ashram, CTC, all, and lot of things. It's a board game, just like we used to play business, vyapar, based on the oldest game developed in Bharat during Mahabharata time, Chaucer. So let's welcome Sahil today. Sahil, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है.
नमस्ते हिमांशु जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Thanks a lot for inviting me. I've seen a couple of your podcasts and they are really informative. So I'm glad you invited me to talk about this very important matter.
Definitely, Sahil. When I read your profile and when I saw your comments on geopolitics, especially on Israel and Iran, and you already predicted it many months before, so I thought it's good time to invite you, discuss you on the current situation, and I mean, what is your analysis about this conflict? How much, and our main interest is how will it impact India, Bharat, on a larger scale. So let me give a brief timeline before starting, and I think then you can add on current situations or something has
Sure.
added in this timeline, and then we can start. So December 2025, large anti-government protests across Iran amid economic hardship and political discontent happened. In January 2026, Iranian forces launched a severe crackdown leading to arrest and casualties. Then in early February 2026, nuclear tensions escalated as diplomatic negotiations with Western powers failed. Then on 27th February 2026, the United States reportedly authorized coordinated military action targeting Iranian strategic sites. On 20th Feb, large-scale strikes hit multiple Iranian military and command facilities. On 20th Feb, Iran Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was reportedly killed during the strikes in Tehran. On 1st March, Iran confirmed his death and established an interim leadership structure. And then tension around the Strait of Hormuz began affecting global oil markets. So this happened till early March. So Sahilji, would you like to add something into it?
Yeah, I think you have covered almost all major points. Apart from the one which is a very latest development, a new leader has been appointed by Iran, and it is the son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. It is Moshtaba Khamenei, and he will be the new supreme leader. And he's quite influential in Iranian war circles as well, considering the fact that he himself was a part of war when he was just 17. So people hold him in massive respect. So it will be an interesting outcome how things happen under his leadership.
If we talk about India, is the current confrontation fundamentally ideological? And I mean, the first question is the first point when we talk about is Iran is that Iran was Persia earlier. Iran was not an Islamic country. So I just want to clear key: is it a fundamentally ideological warfare, or is it ultimately about a strategic influence, energy routes, regional power balance? What actually this confrontation is?
Yes, good question. Yeah, so it's a mix of both in a way. Ideological because traditionally Islam has always fundamentally opposed Zionism, and for Israel, nuclear armed Iran is like an existential threat to them. So that is why regime change operation is so important to them, that they have to change the current regime of Iran under the Ayatollahs. And for Iran, it is a bit tricky, especially because we don't know. We are very much exposed to Western media, but for Iran, how Iranis look at this entire thing is they think about this as a matter of complete sovereignty, जिसे हम संप्रभुता कहते हैं हिंदी में, कि they feel कि
Hmm.
these Westerners or this Jewish American regime want to overthrow their Islamic regime and make them their vassal. And most of the other Muslim nations, the Sunni Muslim nations around Iran, all West Asian nations are essentially vassals of US only. So for Iran,
Hmm.
it is a fight for their sovereignty. And also, the last part of your question, of course, like every war, there is a lot of strategic influence and energy and profit and all that is involved as well, because Iran has massive oil reserves. So there is a very old joke in geopolitical circles: wherever there is oil, US will intervene to protect democracy or start democracy over there. So, as it is discussed, yes, USA is also there for the profits and oil, but also because of the ideological reasons, which Israel and USA are intertwined together also.
So just continue from this question. As we all saw that initially the unrest started within Iran, and it started maybe around 5 6 months back, when people of Iran started protesting against the government, especially the supreme leader Khomeini. So where do you see this as a the cross country conflict or conflict between Israel and US combined with against the Iran, or was it internal conflict initially where Israel or US stepped in? Because initially the women's mostly they were against the burqa culture, many mosques were also burned, we heard. I mean, it is just on the news. So, was it internal conflict just like happened in Nepal, or was it something else?
In geopolitics, no, sir, nothing is coincidental. Okay, people may lead you to believe कि it happened ऐसे ही, लोगों का struggle था, it was a people's uprising. Never. Especially
Hmm.
in geopolitics, everything is planned and strategically it happens. The consequences. So इसे हम color revolution बोलते हैं. So this was a very planned strategic effect, and it is precisely because, yeah, these coordinated protests didn't work. They had literally
हम्म,
step in 2011-12 के अराउंड भी ये मिडल ईस्ट में हुआ था. द एग्जैक्ट सेम थिंग दे प्लान थ्रू आउट different kingdoms of Middle East to overthrow the government. मतलब these coups were strategically planned. So even in
हम्म,
Iran, this women's revolution and all, America never cared about it. Okay, these are just
हम्म,
excuses, and it's unfortunate people get fooled by such things. So it was a proper planned executed action, and as you rightly asked, so it is part of a broader conflict, and this West Asian region, it exerts a humongous geostrategic importance as well. So, majority of the trade that the eastern hemisphere of the globe and western hemisphere of the globe do, it is primarily through this West Asian routes of Bab al Mandeb or Strait of Hormuz. So these majority
हम्म,
trade routes that they hold immense importance. So control over that also gives this area a huge importance in geopolitics. So definitely it is not a bilateral issue also, because now USA is also involved, and naturally the allies of US, or the vassals of US are also being forced to get involved. So it's difficult to call it a bilateral issue, and since there is involvement of others as well.
तो इसी में थोड़ा सा एक और एडिशन है, जैसे आप यू आर कंटिन्यूसली टॉकिंग अबाउट इजराइल एंड यूएस, सो वी जस्ट वांट टू नो कि इज दिस रियल ईरान इजराइल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, और इज इट ए बायलैटरल इजराइल एंड यूएस combined against the Iran, or was it originally by you? I mean, what is your view on
See,
this?
it was never bilateral. See, Israel and US have a very क्या बोल सकते हैं उस relationship को? It is weird in a way because US सबसे ताकतवर देश है. US is literally the most strongest country in the world. However, it
Hmm.
functions in a way where Israel is very central to its geopolitical outlook. So Israel
Hmm.
के interest and USA के interest converge a lot. Okay, so of course it is because the Jewish lobby in US is extremely powerful. So, and both Republicans as well as Democrats are heavily funded by these Jewish lobbies. So when Israel is involved, it can never be a bilateral issue because USA will 100% be a part of the entire operation. That is why वो joke भी करते हैं ना कि USA is a vassal of Israel or Trump is a puppet of Israel. So all this is very common in geopolitical circles.
हम्म। हाँ, अभी आजकल ये रील्स और मीम्स भी बहुत ज्यादा आ रही हैं कि ट्रम्प तो एक पपेट है।
Yeah.
द सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज द किलिंग ऑफ Ayatollah Khamenei during the opening strikes marks one of the most dramatic leadership losses in the modern geopolitics. How could the removal of such a long-standing supreme leader affect Iran's internal stability and strategic direction? I'm asking this based on two things. Like आपने पहले ही बोला है कि जो इंटरनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट या जो वुमेन्स जो प्रोटेस्ट थे, दे वर ऑल स्टेज्ड, it looks like. So, was it really demanded that Khomeini should be dethroned, or it was just done by Israel and US together? इससे क्या फर्क पड़ेगा, ईरान में क्या इफेक्ट पड़ेगा?
See, first of all, to start with the assassination or killing of Ayatollah, see, he had the option to flee Iran. Okay, there were various intelligence inputs given, and also it is said that Russia had given him an option to flee to Russia before the attack. But see, Iran is a heavily Shia dominated country, and Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, being the supreme leader of Shia Islam, one of the supreme leaders, it is martyrdom and sacrifice is a very central tenet of Islam, of Shia Islam especially. So this move of dying, so Khamenei chose to live and die there. He chose to die a martyr's death in order to unite everyone. So as you said, ki there was a lot of resentment and problems and internal chaos within Iran just before this. So, in order to not just unite the Iranis within Iran, but also to unite Shias in general, was the aim, and he did that job amazingly well. So, his martyrdom proved, and the effects were so brilliant for Iran. It not only united the Shias globally, but also Sunnis who support the global Ummah. Ummah is the
हम्म
unified Muslim Brotherhood. So even Sunnis saw him as a worthy leader for them, because um, this fundamental Islamist often viewed Sunnis or the Sunni Islamic nations as puppets of US, which is true in a way. So they saw Khomeini as their leader as well. So this martyrdom tactic, or whatever we call it, was a huge success in their eyes, and this was actually a very bad move and very bad planning for US and Israel, because they thought कि Iran is just like another Venezuela. They feel
हम्म
matlab, that is why you see USA and Israel in a way being so powerless and so surprised with Iranian response, because they thought कि it is a same strategy we can apply everywhere in the world. The way what they did in Venezuela, they just kidnapped a sitting president of a country, and they feel कि once you take away the head of a country, everything will fall into place and they will come begging कि say sorry, sorry, sorry. But ऐसा नहीं होता ना हर जगह. Complete 180
हम्म
degree different response was given by Iran. Instead of completely falling
हमने
apart, yes, they
हम्म
united and they gave it back tenfold, which was completely मतलब वो सोचा ही नहीं था.
हमने ये भी देखा कि जो मिसाइल अटैक था यूएस का, वो भी ईरान ने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से हैंडल किया। आई मीन जो इजराइल और यूएस की जो डिफेंसिव सिस्टम था, वो पूरी तरीके से चकनाचूर हो गया ईरान की मिसाइल्स के थ्रू। और वही इस वक्त सबसे बड़ा शॉक चल रहा था।
Exactly.
आई थिंक वही आप पॉइंट अभी कह भी रहे
एक
हैं।
बात इससे इजीली हमें समझ में आती है कि ईरान वाज प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर दिस हेवीली अ लॉट. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब ये जो 12 डे वॉर इसके पहले जो हुआ, इससे ईरान ने बहुत कुछ सीखा एंड इमीडिएट एक्शंस वर टेकन, बिकॉज आई हैड आल्सो सेड अर्लियर कि दिस इज नॉट द एंड एट ऑल. बोथ ऑफ देम एक दूसरे को परख रहे थे. बोथ ऑफ देम वर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ईच अदर्स आर्सनल, कितना एक दूसरे के पास कैसे टाइप के वेपन है. एंड ईरान स्ट्रेटेजिकली यूज्ड ऑल इट्स ओल्ड रिजर्व्स ओनली, and these old weapons, they were at the fraction of the cost of the interceptor missiles which Israel and USA were using. So मतलब एक रुपए का, yes, एक रुपए का ईरान के अटैक्स, अटैकिंग ड्रोन्स एक रुपए के है, तो इसराइल के जो आयरन डोम या फिर यूएसए के जो थर्ड इंटरसेप्टिंग मिसाइल्स वगैरह जो भी है, वो 20 रुपए के है. दैट्स द डिफरेंस इन देयर कॉस्ट. जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जांपल. सो वो जस्ट अवॉइडिंग द अटैक इटसेल्फ वाज सो कॉस्टली फॉर देम. और अभी तक ईरान ने सिर्फ अपने ओल्ड स्टॉक है उसको रेप्लेनिश उसको यूज कर रहे थे. सो दैट वाज द एंटायर थिंग, एंड this is why it proved to be such a shock, and this is why Iran, Israel and USA are unable to stop these attacks, is because जो ओल्ड आर्सनल है ईरान को, उसी ने बहुत कुछ रिप्लेनिश कर दिया. तो नए अटैक्स के लिए उनके पास उतना बचा ही नहीं. और थर्ड एंड आयरन डोम बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है, बहुत ज्यादा एक्सपेंसिव है.
पैट्रियोटिक मिसाइल के बारे में भी सुना था, जो इंटरसेप्टर है यूएस
Yes,
का, वो पूरी तरीके से
correct. All of that entire. So ये इतना उनके लॉजिस्टिक्स को हार्म किया, और ये इतना सरप्राइजिंग था कि यूएसए वाज प्लानिंग टू ब्रिंग देयर सिस्टम्स फ्रॉम साउथ कोरिया. मतलब इतना
ओके
ओवरवेल्म हो गए हैं वो अटैक्स से. So मतलब completely they were in for a surprise, not even a surprise, a shock in fact. Or even more important thing is, and this is very central to Shia Islam, कि इसके पहले, so as I said कि Khamenei wasn't the most important Shia cleric. Okay, so there are others also. Even in Indian Shias, they don't follow Khamenei. I mean, not many people know this. people over there follow the Marja. Marja is the supreme leader of Shias. Sayyid Ali Sistani, Sayyid Ali Sistani नाम है उनका. He also declared support to against America and Israel. Now this is a proper religious war, and it is like a fundamental duty of all Shias to follow him. And Sistani is extremely influential, like really influential for Shias. So this will turn out to be a big problem for Israel and USA, because ये anticipate ही नहीं किया था. जैसे मैंने कहा, उनको लगा वेनेजुएला जैसा ही होगा, सब इजीली सब फोल्ड होंगे और सब सरेंडर करेंगे. तो और एंड मेन क्या किया पता है, ईरान ने डिसेंट्रलाइज कर दिया है सब कुछ. मतलब पहले जो सेंट्रल अथॉरिटी से सब कमांड आते थे, और इसराइल वो सेंट्रल अथॉरिटी को ही अटैक करके सब खत्म करना चाहता था. अभी डिसेंट्रलाइज हुआ है. जीसी इज कंप्लीटली डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड एंड एवरीवन इज वर्किंग देयर ओन स्ट्रेटजीज ऑफ अटैकिंग. सो दिस इज आल्सो प्रूविंग टू बी अ बिग हेडेक फॉर इसराइल एंड यूएस.
बट डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन क्या ईरान के लिए इंटरनली मैनेजेबल होगा?
नहीं, अभी उनको जरूरत ही नहीं है ना मैनेज करने की. दिस इज द थिंग ना. उसके उसके वजह से क्या होता है, वो कोऑर्डिनेशन और इसमें भी बहुत डिफिकल्टी जो हो रहा था, वो सब दैट इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल, बिकॉज एवरीवन has their own immediate threats and problems which are getting solved easily. When decentralization happens, if the resources and logistics are properly taken care of, it is never a problem. एंड ऑल ऑफ देम, उनके दिमाग में सिर्फ वही है कि हमारे सुप्रीम लीडर को इन्होंने मारा, सो एंड उसका बदला लेना है. दिस इज what is in their mind, and that is the thing, that is why this martyrdom was such a master stroke, because it actually united everyone. Even the women who were an integral part of the process, उनका even their eyes, मतलब उनके भी आंख खुल गए कि वी वर जस्ट यूज्ड एज पपेट्स. एंड मेन क्या था, मतलब जो उकसाने वाले रूमर्स वगैरह थे कि दिस जो ईरानियन रेजिम है, आयतोल्ला से, वो सिर्फ सेल्फिश है, सिर्फ उनके खुद के इंटरेस्ट के लिए है, ये रूल कर रहे हैं आपको. बट जब उनके पास एक मौका था भागने का, वो भागे नहीं. सी, इसके पहले भी हमने बहुत से कू देखे. अफगानिस्तान में देखा है. all of these coups that happened, first thing was that उनका लीडर भाग जाता है, they flee the country. सीरिया में सबसे important देखा. बट यहाँ पे ऑप्शन रह के भी ही डिडंट. वो बहुत रिस्पेक्ट गार्नर किया लोकल पॉपुलेशन में इस मूव ने.
ये तो अभी हमने बात की कि अगर ईरान की लीडरशिप जो स्ट्रक्चर है वो ट्रांजिशन में तो ऑलरेडी जा ही चुका है. आपने जैसे बताया कि खोमेनी जा चुके हैं और आज जो है उनके बेटे को फाइनली थ्रोन कर भी दिया गया है. तो और आप ये भी बता रहे हो कि डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन भी हो गया है, बट दिस विल नॉट, I mean, are you sure that this will not reshape the political nature of the Iranian state? It will remain as it was earlier.
See, in geopolitics, you can never be sure of anything. Okay, especially when it is we are talking about a foreign country. And see, our sources are also from open source. Okay, जो न्यूज में आता है, जो ये उसी को हम लोग पढ़ के एनालाइज करके वी से और वी मेक अ चॉइस, और जो हमें लगता है. बट फ्रॉम व्हाट्स करंटली हैपनिंग, सी, ऑफ कोर्स कोई भी नेशन में ये रहता ही है कि एवरीवन इज पावर हंग्री, एवरीवन सबका खुद का एम्बिशंस रहता है. बट वो अगर इफ समवन ट्राइज टू डू दैट राइट नाउ, if someone tries to grab power right now, or someone tries to create internal problems, Iranian लोग ही उसको अपोज करेंगे. Even for them, they know कि this is not the right time to do anything internally. I'll tell you a good example of this. Ismail Qani, the commander of IRGC, everyone noticed कि IRGC के important लोगों पे जब अटैक होता है, तब he is always surviving, और उसको कुछ हानि नहीं होती है. तो many geopolitical experts and everyone predicted कि he is like a mole, या फिर he might be a Mossad agent. तो वो भी अभी गायब ही है. Most likely he is taken out.
Now you were saying कि जो IRGC का हेड था वो assumed like कि he is a Mossad agent. He may be, he may not be. This can be just an assumption or analysis of many experts. But still, there are many power countries like Russia, China, European countries. How they will strategically position themselves in this conflict, or if this conflict escalates? मतलब escalation में तो पहले यही पूछना चाहेंगे कि क्या ये escalate होगा या ये बहुत जल्दी खत्म होने वाला है, जैसे अभी हमने पहले बात की कि यूएस और इसराइल का जो खर्चा है वो कई गुना ज्यादा है। तो क्या ये एस्केलेट हो पाएगा, ये लंबे समय तक चलेगा? इसराइल ऑलरेडी पहले ही और कई जगह कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स में फंसा हुआ है, गाजा का उसका अभी तक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट खत्म नहीं हुआ है। तो क्या ये कंटिन्यू कर पाएगा ये सिचुएशन, या ये बहुत जल्दी क्लोज होने वाली है? और अगर नहीं होने वाली है तो फिर बाकी पावर कंट्रीज जैसे मैंने कहा चाइना, यूरोपियन कंट्रीज, उनका क्या पोजीशन है?
सी अभी ईरान का current position क्या है, they are saying complete no to negotiations, and if Iran wants to win it has to have that exact same position. अगर वो रिलेंट करते हैं, अगर वो नेगोशिएशंस वगैरह में आते हैं तो इट विल लूज द कंप्लीट एडवांटेज, और जिसे हम मोमेंटम कहते हैं, दे विल ईरान विल लूज इट, एंड इट वुड बी टर्म्ड एज अ ह्यूज स्ट्रैटेजिक फेलियर और अ मेजर ब्लंडर, बिकॉज ईरान इज लिटरली एट इन द ड्राइवर सीट. मतलब इंडिया में स्पेशली उतना इंटेल आता नहीं है कि द डैमेज ईरान इज डूइंग ऑन इसराइल, बिकॉज इसराइल तो बाहर आने ही नहीं दे रहा कुछ, एंड यूएस के साथ भी जो हो रहा है, व्हाट ईरान इज करंटली डूइंग, वी एग्जैक्टली द इंडियन मीडिया इज नॉट टेलिंग अस. So Iran definitely is in the driver's seat. So if it continues its offensive like this, see, the war in a way will be about attrition also, because it completely depends upon how much Iran can fire, or how much the stockpile of missiles and drones Iran still has. And what Iran currently said is that कि अभी हमारा just old arsenal खत्म हुआ, now the entire new arsenal we will start firing. When it comes to information warfare, they are holding an edge because underdog के लिए थोड़ा सा सहानुभूति सबका रहता है. But when it comes to Russia and China, see, they are already a passive participant in this war. Okay, so ऐसा नहीं है कि they are not involved at all. So all these strategic inputs which Iran is getting, they are receiving it from Russia and China only. So especially with the tech aspect of it, so Iran is targeting pinpoint accuracy. Se Iran is targeting their both Israel and USA. So for example, Benjamin Netanyahu's brother was killed. So the old house of Netanyahu was pinpoint accuracy se target karke his brother has died. It is today's news only. So this couldn't have been possible with sole Iranian technology. Okay, it is a proper help from China. So जो बाइडू मतलब इट इज अ जीपीएस जो हम लोग यूज करते हैं, जीपीएस का चाइनीज वेरिएंट है, एंड इट इज एक्सट्रीमली proper. मतलब the technology is not like other Chinese products. So अच्छा खासा Baidu is very effective, and it is proving to be a great help for Iran in this conflict. So yes, these two countries are already passively involved. Now when it comes to Europe, यूरोप का थोड़ा ट्रिकी है, बिकॉज यूरोप अगेंस्ट its wishes they are being forced by America to be a part of this war. America, as I said कि यूरोप एंड these countries they are vassals of US. Okay, जैसे हम vassals को अगर हिंदी जागीर जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं. So Europe doesn't have its own free will. If it had its own free will, it wouldn't like to enter this war, because it is already extremely strained because of Ukraine crisis. जो यूक्रेन में हो रहा है, it has already put a huge strain. But उनका खुद का कुछ विशेष है ही नहीं. जब आप गुलाम होते हो तो आपकी मर्जी से कुछ होता ही नहीं है. You have to follow what your master says. Apart from, except France, every country in Europe is a vassal. France is also a vassal, but you can say a semi-vassal or a semi-sovereign है वो. Okay, so you saw अभी the German Chancellor recently met Trump. मतलब complete मतलब नो फ्री विल, जो ट्रम्प बोल रहे उस पे मुंडी हिलाना, all that's all he was able to do. सो अपार्ट मतलब अभी तक तो यूके, स्पेन एंड फ्रांस, हाँ, यूके, स्पेन एंड फ्रांस, दे हैव said no to the war. They have resisted till now, but let's see till when they can resist, because as I said, so now Spanish PM said कि we won't give access to US. ट्रम्प सटली बोला भी कि इफ वी वांटेड वी कैन टेक इट फोर्सफुली एज वेल. सो ये यूएस कर सकता है, ओके, बिकॉज स्पेन फॉर देम इज अ वसाल ओनली, दे डोंट सी देम एज एनीथिंग बियॉन्ड दैट. So let's see till when they can resist, but it is very difficult for them since they are just colonies or vassals of US.
आपने एक स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मोज की भी बात की थी कि इट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट क्रिटिकल एनर्जी चोक पॉइंट्स इन द वर्ल्ड. सो इट इज फॉर्मली नॉट क्लोज्ड, बट वी हैव जस्ट रिसेंटली हर्ड दैट क्रूड ऑयल प्राइसेस हैव गॉन टू मच हाई. So, and still reports are telling that the risk is very high. The tolls are very high on the Strait of Hormuz. So, could this create a de facto disruption? Like, एक व्यवहारिक बाधा क्या पैदा हो सकती है या हो चुकी है? इसके बारे में क्या है? मतलब ये कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है और ईरान मतलब इसे कैसे कंट्रोल कर सकता है, कितना ज्यादा?
शत प्रतिशत
स्ट्रेट ऑफ
इसका बहुत बड़ा इफेक्ट होगा. 100% इट विल, एंड इट विल बी सुपर कॉस्टली फॉर एवरीवन. मतलब ये ट्रम्प की जो बेवकूफ़ी है, इट विल कॉस्ट एवरीवन डियरली, स्पेशली द कॉमन मैन, बिकॉज जो जो सामान आता है, everything, logistics will take a lot of hit, and since the price rise would be steep, it will affect the last consumer, that is the common man. So especially हमारे जैसे लोग, Indians, who are so dependent on energy rise, energy imports, it will heavily affect. And see, oil is not just for energy, even for day to day objects also, these petroleum products are used. So a huge crisis will be unfolding right in front of our eyes, and it will be very difficult for us to manage it going ahead.
अच्छा, इसमें एक ऑप्शन है, ऑल्टरनेटिव है केप ऑफ गुड होप. सो विल दैट ऑल्टरनेटिव वर्क, और हाउ डिस्ट्रप्टिव कुड दैट बी फॉर द ग्लोबल ट्रेड if Cape of Good Hope is taken as a reroute?
See, it is not exactly an alternative at all, because बेसिकली आप पूरा अफ्रीकन कॉन्टिनेंट को सर्कल करके आपको जाना पड़ेगा. एग्जैक्टली आप लॉजिस्टिक्स को, यू आर डूइंग द सेम, really multiplying the logistics cost only. If you go by pure economics, it is not at all an alternative. So it is very difficult. The current situation would be very problematic. And essentially इससे
So
क्या
this
होगा पता है कि every country will be forced to be आत्मनिर्भर. that मतलब that is the most, so ये जो globalized world है which is interdependent on one another, that is going to crumble big time.
सो इसको थोड़ा सा और एक्सप्लेन कीजिए, जो आपने अभी बताया कि आत्मनिर्भर. आत्मनिर्भर का मतलब है कि यू डेवलप एंड प्रोड्यूस ईच एंड एवरीथिंग इन योर ओन कंट्री and disconnect from the global economics. So is this going to be the new business of the world, or new normal, what you say, or or is it even possible for every country or every continent?
See, that is what will happen. See, every country can't do that, but major countries like us will have to do that, and we have already seen its effect. कि India is doing मतलब heavy exploration in Andamans to explore oil. So this is purely because we don't want to be so dependent on our energy needs abroad. Plus, see, this development of this Chennai Vladivostok route was precisely to avoid this problem which is happening. And this Atmanirbharta, we are seeing heavy dependence on Indian companies for our defense need as well, and that is the perfect step to be done. And इससे क्या होगा, for smaller countries which can't do all of that, they would be dependent on larger countries like Bharat. So इससे every country will have its own sphere of influence and own small countries which would be super dependent on them. So the end result of this would be 4 5 major powers, which will be India, China, Russia, Americas, and maybe a European superpower, and small countries which are around them, that would be super dependent on them.
अच्छा, इसी ये जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट वाला एरिया है, यहीं से हमारा IMEC, इंडिया मिडल ईस्ट एंड यूरोपियन
Economic corridor.
कॉरिडोर भी, इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर भी पास होता है। तो आई थिंक इस पर भी बहुत बड़ा असर पड़ेगा।
बहुत बड़ा, मतलब इंडिया ने बहुत हेवीली इन्वेस्ट किया है इस प्रोजेक्ट में। इन्वेस्ट एज इन नॉट जस्ट मॉनिटरीली, बट अपना जो जियोपॉलिटिकल एनर्जी है, मतलब हमारा विदेश नीति वाज, आईमेक वाज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ इट। एंड
हम्म।
यूएई के जो मतलब द किंग अल नहयान, मोदी जी कॉल्स हिम हिज ब्रदर। Okay, very few people in geopolitics, you will see such terminologies give an indication of the relationship we share with that country or with that leader. So very few people are addressed by brother, and Al Nahyan is one of them. Similarly, the Haifa port of Israel, Adani had made heavy investments over there also. So this IMEC corridor was seen as a potential long-term option for India. But abhi, with the situation UAE is in, it is, matlab, that entire image of Dubai or of UAE is is shattered.
Yes,
And with
definitely.
Israel also, it's the same, because Haifa port is being attacked right now, and fairly, because even Israel attacked Iran's energy sources of oil. So it was a matlab reciprocal response from them.
जब आपने यूएई मिडल ईस्ट की बात की, तो अभी वो सीन याद आ गया कि दुबई जो बहुत सिक्योर माना जाता था, सेफ माना जाता था ट्रेड के लिए, एविएशन के लिए, ग्लोबल माइग्रेशन के लिए, many rich people from India also invested heavily for making flats, properties out there. Now we have seen that they are running away, fleeing away with whatever the price they have to pay. So I mean, Gulf region, it has been a stable hub, and किसी को कभी कोई डर ही नहीं लगा कि कतर में, दोहा में, यूएई में कुछ ऐसा होगा, बॉम्बिंग होगी। तो नाउ दिस इनस्टेबिलिटी स्प्रेड इनटू दिस रीजन, एंड सो जो ये परसेप्शन है, ये लॉन्ग टर्म है, शॉर्ट टर्म है, या ये किस तरीके से भारत को भी असर करेगा?
See, rich people or rich places all have a huge, they are very image conscious. इसीलिए these things have so much of PR associated with it, because image is the most central part of how they present themselves. Now, why is it so successful? Is because it is very secure. अब तक ऐसा था, but now what essentially Iran has done, if you want to go and stay in Dubai, the first thing that will strike into your mind is fear, and that is what Iran has done to every person who was staying in Dubai, or every rich family that was staying in Dubai. That there is huge amount of fear in their minds about Dubai right now, because the primary thing, what was most important in Dubai, which was security, वही छीन लिया है ईरान ने. So that image of Dubai or these Gulf places being super secure, being very comfortable, all of that is gone. And reputation and image is something which you can't build overnight also, and once lost, it can't be rebuilt overnight also. So definitely humongous amounts of PR would be needed to bring it to even half its glory.
लेकिन इसके अलावा दूसरा भी एस्पेक्ट है कि जो मजदूर कैटेगरी के मतलब जो लेबर एक्सपोर्ट है भारत से, सी फेयरर्स, वर्कर्स, they and they are larger part of the global maritime and Gulf workforce. I mean, ये किसी से नहीं छुपा है। अमीर तो चलिए एक बार को 10 लाख 20 लाख रुपए देके भारत वापस आ भी जाएगा, या किसी और सेफ प्लेस में चला जाएगा। गरीब तो जो वहां पे मजदूरी कर रहा है, वो तो फंस के रह जाएगा वहां पे। उनके लिए कितना बड़ा जोखिम है
ये, इतना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि गरीब का नौकरी भी डिपेंडेंट है, बिकॉज अमीर इतने लोग रहते हैं वहां पे. ओके, so they have no, and most of these workers, they are migrants from Bharat, from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, and from साउथ ईस्ट एशियन कंट्रीज वगैरह. सो उनका इवैक्यूएशन इज अ प्राइमरी कंसर्न फॉर देयर कंट्रीज जहां से वो आए हैं. प्लेसेस लाइक पाकिस्तान एंड बांग्लादेश, आई डोंट थिंक सो विल बी एबल टू डू एनीथिंग. India will have to do a
हम्म,
lot, and it would be a major problem to do it. I'll tell you, इतना बड़ा वो problem हो सकता है because even in the war now as the war escalates now, both of them are attacking each other's most important infrastructure. And
हम्म,
the सबसे important human need है पानी. And that entire pani of Middle Eastern of West Asian countries is dependent on desalination plants.
okay.
ये डिसैलिनेशन प्लांट्स को एक अटैक करोगे ना तो अराउंड 60 to 70% ऑफ फ्रेश वाटर नीड्स ऑफ मिडल ईस्ट क्रम्बल्स. वॉर खत्म, especially
हम्म,
of these native Arab and Gulf countries.
हम्म.
So
So, so
Iran holds,
is Iran?
Iran can hold, but Iran का भी वैसा ही है. Iran, see, water will decide the outcome of the war, but the question is उतना लास्ट मतलब see, damaging something like water, it is a huge war crime in a way. But उधर तक अगर नौबत
हम्म.
आई तो फिर it will be a major massive problem.
So, I mean, you have mentioned this. So, what do you know more about this attack on fresh water
So
supply?
it won't happen. It will be like, it will be used as a last resort because the human casualty will be immense, and whoever does it first, उसका नाम बहुत खराब होगा देश में, दुनिया में. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल
Hmm.
ईरान, the attacks which happened on Iranian schoolgirls proved to be a
Hmm.
heavy negative image for US and Israel.
Hmm.
This would be even worse. So both the sides would be very cautious. See, one thing is for sure, कि if Israel and US have to win this war, they will have to do something drastic, use a tactical nuke or maybe a dirty bomb.
Hmm.
Dirty bomb as in a chemical weapon or something along those lines. Especially if, as I said earlier, if Iran choose not to stop or negotiate. If Iran doesn't negotiate, if Iran is able to continue its offensive, for US or Israel, they will have to use a tactical nuke or a dirty bomb. And Israel does have it. Most probably Israel also has a. तो ये सिर्फ क्रिटिकल होगा देखना कि दोनों में से कौन बलि का बकरा बन के वो एक्चुअल यूज करता है. एक और स्टेप अगर फर्दर जाए तो इंडिविजुअली, मतलब अगर सी ये सब आई डोंट थिंक सो अगर आप और मैं ये डिस्कस कर सकते कि these intelligence agencies and all, they must have known this very prior only till
Definitely.
Trump chose to go ahead with this. It is, I mean, very surprising unless he was blackmailed and all. So that is also a very different angle to this entire ये कि that is a very natural question कि ये सब अगर पता है, such a humongous problem can happen, why did they still attack? So even this is a major possibility कि so आप बोलोगे वर्ल्ड का सबसे स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट लीडर को कौन ब्लैकमेल कर. So
Hmm.
Epstein files is the reason. So Epstein files is precisely why this is also happening at the same time. So
Okay. ये भी
this is
कनेक्शन
a major connection. जेफरी एप्स्टीन. सो आप बहुत से ऐसे रिपोर्ट्स और इंफॉर्मेशन देखोगे कि जेफरी एप्स्टीन इसका एजेंट है, उसका एजेंट है, मतलब these are distractions. जेफरी एप्स्टीन was a Mossad asset. It is very well known in जो अच्छे से जियो पॉलिटिक्स को देखते हैं. ही वॉज 100% मोसाड एजेंट क्या. एंड उसने तो वो खुल के भी कहा है अपने ईमेल में कि ही रिप्रेजेंटेड रॉथशाइल्ड. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा और बहुत अलग सा डिस्कशन होगा. एक घंटे, एक डेढ़ घंटा उसी में जाएगा, बट ये बहुत क्रिटिकल लिंक है. सो
लेकिन हाँ, जैसा आपने कहा कि अगर हम ये फ्रेश वाटर डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं तो ये डिस्कशन ऑलरेडी बहुत पहले हो चुका होगा और ये किस प्रायोरिटी लिस्ट में किस नंबर पर है ये बस यही जानने वाली बात है. बाकी ये लिस्ट में तो होगा ही होगा डेफिनेटली. कब होगा इसका कुछ नहीं कह सकते.
एग्जैक्टली ये इनके ऊपर ही डिपेंड करता है कि ये वॉर को कितना अभी आगे तक लेके जाते हैं. और दिस इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर ईरान ऑल्सो बिकॉज मतलब देर इज नो हाउ डू यू score a victory from over here unless you kill Netanyahu. only then they can say कि आपने हमारा supreme leader मारा, हमने हमने भी we retaliated in the same way. So
हम्म,
recently Anthony Blinken said कि best way for US to get out of this is declare a victory and just get out. कि we killed Ayatollah, we are satisfied and we want to get out. But even that
हम्म,
is not happening. USA tried, but
हम्म,
unless and until there is see at the beginning of the war they clearly stated regime change is their goal. Now they have been retracting and changing statements and everything. But regime change can't happen without boots on ground. You have to take your army out and you have to have a proper invasion of Iran. And this is also something which I feel कि this invasion will have to happen through Pakistan. So this
ओके,
would be Pakistan is मतलब a proper knocker only of US. So it doesn't have its own. If USA wants, so उम्मा या फिर इस्लाम मुस्लिम यूनिटी सब गया तेल लगाने. Pakistan will have to follow its master what they say and what they want. So too many things are discussed, but yeah, this is the central tenet of the entire year.
but when we started discussing this point earlier, we were talking about the लेबर क्लास कम्युनिटी और ये जो गरीब लोग वहां पे जो काम कर रहे हैं. तो मुझे वो सुनने के बाद याद आया कि एक इससे पहले भी बहुत बड़ा इवैक्यूएशन हुआ था कुवैत के टाइम पर. आर वी एक्सपेक्टिंग सच काइंड ऑफ इवैक्यूएशन? क्या ऐसी सिचुएशन आ रही है? क्या उस टाइप का पैनिक क्रिएट हो चुका है मिडिल ईस्ट में कि वहां से सब जो गरीब लोग हैं या जो मजदूर कैटेगरी के लोग हैं या जो बहुत साधारण सी नौकरी भी कर रहे हैं किसी ऑफिस में या कुछ भी, जिनके पास निकलने के लिए 10 लाख 20 लाख रुपए नहीं है चार्टर प्लेन के लिए, क्या वो तैयारी शुरू हो चुकी है? वो सिचुएशन कहाँ तक है या वो आपको कहाँ तक दिखाई देती है?
100% ये बहुत बड़ा क्राइसिस होने वाला. 100%. और उससे सी इंडियन माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स सिर्फ अरबिक नेशंस में नहीं है, दे आर ऑल्सो इन इसराइल.
हम्म,
और रिसेंटली हमारा पैक्ट साइन हुआ था कि हम लोग माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स मतलब सी फॉर इसराइल जो जो ये छोटे मोटे काम थे they were being done by Palestinians and Israel saw them as a huge security threat. That is why they signed a pact with India कि आपके migrant workers हो, your migrant workers are very safe secure for us. और and it was a win-win situation for us also because जो हमारे migrant workers थे उनको it was a significant rise for them economically monetarily. जहाँ पे वही
हम्म,
मजदूर अगर 100 रुपया भारत में कमा रहा है उधर जाके वो इजीली 175-180 रुपीज कमाता है. सो इट वाज अ प्रॉपर विन विन सिचुएशन फॉर बोथ ऑफ देम. सो ये माइग्रेशन का क्राइसिस इतना बड़ा होगा ना, इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर इंडियन गवर्नमेंट टू मैनेज एवरीथिंग. सो आई मीन थैंकफुली वी हैव द राइट पीपल इन पावर, बट इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू नेविगेट अस फ्रॉम हियर.
इंडिया का जो रिलेशनशिप है वो चाहे इसराइल हो, ईरान हो, गल्फ स्टेट्स हो, इन सब के साथ हमारा इक्वल रिलेशनशिप है. अभी आपने जैसे बताया कि यूएई के सुल्तान हो और इवन नेतानियाहू को आप देखिए, वो भाई जैसे ही मिलते हैं मोदी जी से. अब इस इन द मिडल ऑफ दिस क्राइसिस, दिस वन, हाउ कॉम्प्लेक्स इज इंडियाज डिप्लोमेटिक बैलेंसिंग एक्ट? क्योंकि बहुत सारे हमने रील्स वगैरह देखे और वीडियोस देखे जिसमें ये पूछा जा रहा है कि भारत का क्या स्टेट है, भारत का क्या स्टेट मतलब अपना स्टैंड है इस क्राइसिस में. और आई थिंक आज या कल ही एस जयशंकर जी ने, हमारे एक्सटर्नल मिनिस्टर ने, उन्होंने एक बयान दिया है, बट इससे पहले तक आया नहीं था. तो ये कितना कॉम्प्लेक्स हो जाएगा हमारे लिए इस सिचुएशन को मेंटेन करना.
यस. सो परफेक्ट आपने कहा. और इनिशियली जब मतलब ये अटैक स्टार्ट हुआ उसके वो स्टार्ट हुआ इमीडिएटली आफ्टर मोदी जी वेंट एंड मेट नेतन्याहू. एंड इमीडिएटली आफ्टर द वॉर स्टार्टेड वी डिडंट से एनीथिंग. We were in complete silence. The entire response was around how if you see Modi ji's timeline, just when war started, all he did was he spoke with the neighboring Arabic countries like Qatar, Bahrain वगैरह कि और UAE about the losses and everything. But when we saw how the tide is changing, we immediately adjusted, and that was very important. Okay, see, because initially ऐसे ही सोचा जा रहा था कि we had actually chosen a side. We had chosen Israel's side, but with things that were changing, we also adjusted. And now you see Vikram Misri went into Iranian embassy and wrote a message of condolence uh, for the martyrdom of Khamenei. Similarly, अभी एस
हम्म,
जयशंकर मिले, क्या नाम, सईद खतबजादा, or the deputy foreign minister of Iran. He met with him. He was invited in Raisina dialogues now. So India is also now adjusting, and it is good कि Iran also acknowledges it. So this was the statement from Iran कि they acknowledge how Iran and India have been civilizational partners, and how our friendship would be continued. Similarly, now even this ship which got sank, which was attacked by America and which got sank, now उसका भी अभी clarification आया. See, that also was a way to drag India into the war by US. That is why you can't ever trust US as a friend or ally. It is the most untrustworthy relationship that India harbors. So now we have docked another ship, another Iranian ship into our port in Kochi. So this was our way of maneuvering around these difficult times, and मतलब ये maintaining a balance is very difficult. So and but we are doing a good job as of now. So see, मैंने ये पहले भी कहा था कि everywhere, see, it is unfortunate कि even the current population, we are very less aware about geopolitics. Even the so-called right wing या फिर people who are very nationalistic, they feel कि अरे Iran is a Islamic country, so it अच्छा हो रहा है जो हो रहा है वो. नहीं, see, you have to understand it from a geopolitical perspective कि अमेरिका कितना बड़ा सरदर्द है भारत के लिए. The coups that are happening right now, it is a way to encircle India from all sides. Do we know कि most of our neighbors are American proxies? And Iran, if Iran falls, another one of India's important neighbor will be an American proxy. So for us, the best solution was a non-nuclear current regime. That is the best scenario for us. So अगर वो होता है, so then let's see now. We don't know what will happen, but this was the best case scenario for us.
हमने साहिल भाई बहुत सारी पॉइंट्स पे डिस्कशन किया. आई मीन स्पेशली अवर फोकस वाज ऑन इंडिया एंड देयर वर सो मेनी पॉइंट्स केम अप लाइक there can be a migration conflict, migration, huge migration issue. Their energy crisis have already started. Import, export, every commodity may have been or may be going to be affected very soon, and common man will definitely affected. लेबर माइग्रेशन का बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम आएगा. अभी आपने बताया कि जो भारत का जो जियो पॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन है वो अमेरिकन प्रॉक्सी बनता जा रहा है. सो देर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स एंड एज यू हैव वेरी वेल मेंशन्ड अभी, इंडिया इज नॉट वेरी मच अवेयर ऑफ जियो पॉलिटिक्स. Like earlier you mentioned ki you have mentioned another supreme leader from Iran, and I think people don't know. Everybody knows about Khomeini only, and that is why most of the left wingers, they were crying over Khomeini. That I think nobody has uttered his name as well. The second supreme leader which you have mentioned. सो वी सी कि हर तरफ से भारत को कहीं ना कहीं कुछ सिचुएशन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट फेस करना पड़ सकता है. कोई बहुत बड़ी सिचुएशन क्राइसिस फेस करनी पड़ सकती है. तो ओवरऑल अब लेकिन हम तो अभी भी बहुत खुश हैं, होली मना रहे हैं, क्रिकेट की जीत को सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं. इतना सीरियसनेस दिखाई नहीं दे रहा. और जैसे आपने अभी बोला कि पीपल आर हैप्पी कि ईरान में हमला हो गया, तो मोस्ट ऑफ द एनालिसिस्ट इन भारत दे आर हैप्पी कि हाँ ठीक है, एक इस्लामिक रिजीम जा रही है। बट हाउ वल्नेबरल, अब समरी में एक हमें बताइए कि भारत कितना वल्नेबरल है, और ये सिचुएशन एस्केलेट होती है तो आगे 1 महीने में, 1 हफ्ते में हम क्या देख सकते हैं, क्या फेस कर सकते हैं, या अगले 6 महीने में क्या इफेक्ट आ सकता है?
See, सब इंडिया is a growing nation. मतलब हमारा इकोनॉमिकली भी we are expanding at a very rapid pace, and because we are growing at a very rapid pace, most fundamental requirement that we have is of energy, and this energy comes from Strait of Hormuz, so and a lot of it from these Gulf countries also. So इससे क्या होगा कि our dependence on Russian oil will increase exponentially, and that was a very strategic move on India's part. Ki we worked on this China Vladivostok route completely from the other side. So the repercussions of this would be huge, and problem ये है कि Indians don't understand कि what is to be supported and celebrated. So people who are rejoicing on Israel attacking Iran, they don't know कि actually if another US puppet becomes our neighbor, it would be such a massive problem for us. So that is where I think the problem with Indian masses and even nationalistic people is कि we need a little more understanding of geopolitics.
तो जैसे मैंने पूछा, मतलब हम जैसे बात कर रहे थे कि एक हमारी वल्नेबिलिटी तो बहुत ज्यादा है, कुछ आगे आने वाले समय में क्या क्या थ्रेट्स आ सकते हैं, अगर आप कुछ बता सकते हैं तो, भारत के लिए स्पेशली?
सबसे सबसे बड़ा थ्रेट सर ये जो प्राइस चेंज का होगा, मतलब द नॉर्मल चीजें भी बहुत ज्यादा महंगी होगी बिकॉज ऑफ पेट्रोल दैट विल गेट अफेक्टेड, and second and logistics of course, and second problem which will happen in and around India would be navigating कि ये हमारा geopolitical positions कैसे रहेंगे with what's happening. See, सबसे बड़ा चीज which Indian government is also aiming at कि हमें कोई war में नहीं घुसना है when we are trying to build our country economically. But these Western powers, they are forcing and trying their level best to drag India into a conflict. So ये provocations और geopolitical चीजों को balance करना would be the biggest challenge which we will be facing. और सी अभी तो अच्छा खासा भी बैलेंस्ड ईरान एंड इजराइल, बट अगर if this would have turned into a major problem कि स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मुज से कंप्लीट ये ब्लॉक हो जाता सप्लाईज, इट वुड हैव बीन अ मेजर प्रॉब्लम. So luckily उतना सीवियर नहीं हुआ because we in a way repaired our relation with Iran also. So that isn't a immediate problem now, but ये foreseeable future में आत्मनिर्भरता is the only solution. और and you have multiple options, मतलब we should have 20 options to secure our energy needs and not just solely dependent on one or two. So this is very crucial and it is the way forward for us.
बिल्कुल साहिल भाई, जैसे हमने इतना लंबा डिस्कशन किया और हमने बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स पे बात की, आईएमईसी कॉरिडोर के बारे में, स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मुज, केप ऑफ गुड, लेबर क्राइसिस, माइग्रेशन क्राइसिस, और वेस्ट एशिया का जो इमेज बिल्डिंग थी वो भी पूरी धराशायी हो गई इसमें। एनर्जी एक बहुत बड़ा सेक्टर है, की सेक्टर है जो इफेक्ट हो सकता है इंडिया के लिए, बट देर इज अपॉर्चुनिटी एज वेल। जैसे आपने बोला कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत होने का एक बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी भी है, बट इतना तो जरूर माना जा सकता है कि अगर वेस्ट एशिया में कोई कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो रहा है या किसी तरीके का कॉन्फ्रंटेशन चल रहा है तो भारत उससे अछूता नहीं रह सकता, और अछूता रहने के साथ साथ एक फ्रंट पे नहीं, बहुत सारे फ्रंट पे हमें असर पड़ सकता है। ये सिर्फ डिपेंड करता है कि हमारी पॉलिटिकल स्ट्रेटेजीज कैसी हैं, हमारे पॉलिटिकल थिंकर्स क्या सोच रहे हैं, किस स्ट्रेटेजी को लेकर आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, हमारे स्टैंड्स कैसे हैं ऑन एवरी एस्पेक्ट, एनर्जी, पावर सेक्टर और लेबर, माइग्रेशन एंड जियो पॉलिटिकल सिचुएशन। भारत may or may not be affected, but there are 100% likely chances that so many things will be affected in Bharat. So we would like to thank you very much, Sahil ji, for giving your time, your discussion and analysis on this deep discussion. And I think people in Bharat will come to know a lot more about geopolitical situation currently going on. And we should not look at it from one lens. There has to be multiple aspects from where we should look into it. And we should be aware as well about the situations, and we should be well prepared for it. And as you said, ki it is a good opportunity for Atmanirbhar Bharat, and that will only happen when every Bharatiya will stand up to become an Atmanirbhar. हमारे प्रधानमंत्री या हमारे मुख्यमंत्री से नहीं होगा अकेले, उनके कहने से नहीं होगा। हर व्यक्ति को आत्मनिर्भर होना होगा, हर भारतीय को आत्मनिर्भर होना होगा और सनातनी परंपरा से ही आत्मनिर्भर होना होगा। तो इस डिस्कशन के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद साहिल जी आपका, और फिर मिलते हैं। हमारे भक्तों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, हमारे दर्शकों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद इस पॉडकास्ट को ध्यान से सुनने के लिए। जय हिंद, जय भारत, धन्यवाद।